there are no really bad side effects to nutrition and fitness.
Oh, in a full year, and that lets you save. Who cares?
Welcome to a brand new edition of Ageless Energy, where we talk about how to burn fat, increase energy, and balance hormones for women over 40. Over the past 20 years as a performance coach, I've worked with hundreds of women that have the exact same struggles you do. I hope to shine some light with this podcast on what can be the most challenging time of your life and let you know there is hope to find success with your health and what you're looking for. Please share and enjoy. Welcome, Amy. We're super excited to have you on today.
Hey, Drew. I am excited. It's Friday and excited to be here.
All right. Tell me, just let's talk about you just for a moment. Let's give our audience a chance to know who you are and who they're learning from.
Well, my name is Amy Wilson. I go by, if you're on Instagram, the nutrition coach pharmacist. I kind of say I'm a triple factor. I'm a board certified geriatric pharmacist, which means I work with the elderly. And unfortunately, it seems to be getting younger and younger who I work with. And I am a certified nutrition coach. I use a platform called The Fastest Way to Fat Loss. And then I have been in the fitness industry since I was 17. We'll talk about math later, but I have been teaching for a long, long time. So I try to put all three of those together with my clients. I coach virtually. And my goal really is that people live longer, stronger. And honestly, I'm a pharmacist who prefers that people are not on medication.
Is that like a conflict of interest or not really?
You know, medication is great. I mean, there is a reason why we have medication. However, especially in the United States, but I do have clients around the world, and it seems to be getting more and more so, we rely on medication too much instead of preventative. We don't look at preventative. We don't look at preventative outcomes. We are like, oh, there's a pill for that. There's a pill for that. And we need to get away from that. And, there's a reason to have medication. We need medication for certain, certain disease states. Medication is great for cancer, but there's also things that we can do to not get there in the first place, especially with like type 2 diabetes and hypertension and cholesterol. So conflict of interest, maybe for big pharma, but not for me.
So on a more serious note, you don't have any blowback, or like you must have, like as a pharmacist, you must have some type of governing body, and they don't really say anything that when you're like, stop taking pills, exercise?
Well, no, because I'm never going to say stop taking pills. So for my clients who come to me, maybe they've been just diagnosed, I'm going to work with their physician to see what we can do and get what's called the lowest effective dose. If we can get you off the medication, perfect. If we can go for prevention in the first place and not even get to that point where being on medication, perfect. So what I'm never going to say is that, stop all your medication, because that's absolutely the wrong thing. And I'm not a prescriber, so I can't do that. So I'm going to work with someone's physician and see where we can get to. It's either the lowest effective dose, or maybe we can even get them off. And that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I love that you're saying this because, well, we had an interview on exploring mind and body, and it was really nice to hear a similar perspective. And I say similar things, but I feel like it doesn't hold as much weight because I'm not a pharmacist, or I tell people I don't know much about pharmaceuticals, but I'll tell you that there are other ways to improve your health.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we think, again, it's like, oh, well, I'm diagnosed with this, just give me a pill. When you go to the doctor's office and you're not feeling good, if you don't leave with a prescription, you feel like you've been gypped. And we need to get away from that and thinking that, okay, what can we do besides medication? Let's have medication being the last resort instead of the first.
Yeah, 100%. We got a ton of people in here. I'm not going to be able to read everyone's names like I usually do, but we got an exciting good morning from Lena. Lorraine's in here, Hilda, Jennifer. Thank you guys all for jumping in here. If you have any questions for Amy here live, I'll read them. And I'll read them so she can answer directly for you. But otherwise, we appreciate you guys being here. Brianne says we need more people like you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good morning, Monique. Okay, let's see. There's so much I want to cover today. I know I want to get into Ozempic in particular. Maybe before, I know everyone's super excited to learn more about that. But in particular, is there another option? Like, what is the answer? Because we know we live in that world, right? We know we live in that world of, if there's something wrong with us, we go to a doctor. And we hear that all the time. Like, we have to, I'm not sure what's wrong with me. I'm going to my doctor, or I'm going to get some type of medication. And I feel like that's not the solution. Do you agree?
I agree. The problem is that we go to the doctor and we think we need to get prescriptions. Like I said, you want something. And with Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, all these GLP-1s, this is the first time that a physician practitioner has something, because I'll get clients and they'll go to their doctor and their doctor says, well, you have to lose weight. And usually it's, cut carbs or cut calories. And they give them some really bogus information. No support whatsoever, and no follow through either. And they don't refer them out to anybody. They're just like, this is what's going on. You need to lose 10 pounds. Now they have something that they can physically write a prescription and give somebody to lose weight. So I don't want to, fault the doctors because they finally have an answer, but we also have to look at ourselves, is because we want quick fixes. We want something that is going to work because we've been frustrated. And I get wanting, it's kind of nice to think about, I have to do an injection and it's going to cause me to lose weight. Woohoo. I'm not immune to that. I look at that too going, dang, wouldn't that be nice? But then I know all the ramifications that could happen. And that's what we have to think about, is that there's a cost for everything. There's a side effect for everything. And I don't want to be here and be like, I can't believe you're on that. How dare you? No, I get it. I understand. I understand the psyche. I understand why. I understand maybe what's going on, but there's ways to be on the medication. There's things that you have to do. And maybe if you're thinking about it, to have open ears and understand that there are consequences that could happen. And to know that, yes, does nutrition and fitness take longer? Mm-hmm. It really does. And is it frustrating at times? Abso-freaking-lutely. But there are no really bad side effects to nutrition and fitness if done right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to learn more. Like, I'm a research guy, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you in here, because I don't know a ton about pharmaceuticals in general, but these in particular, it's such a hot topic. Like, I have people that say, oh, you know what? Instead of your program, I'm going to try Ozempic for a little bit. Maybe I'll come back to you later. Yeah. And it seems like, and then I hear from our clients that I've been working, and we have some really great success stories. Like, one of them in particular lost 20 pounds, had a friend jump on Ozempic, lost a bunch of weight in a short amount of time. And they're like, well, insane. Another 30 pounds, had a friend, Ozempic, lost a bunch of weight, short amount of time, no effort. And I'm thinking, what happens after? How long can you be on it? Like, you can't do that for the rest of your life, right?
That's what they're saying, is that you have to be on it for the rest of your life. Most people, to continue to be the size that they want, the weight to lose, that they will have to be on the rest of their life. And I know people have gone off, and the weight has come back. I know some people who have come off because of getting sick and having some major side effects. You see, and I'm sure you're going to read all about, Sharon Osbourne was on it, and Oprah's on it, and Kelly Clarkson, and that kind of thing. You have to realize too, when they're on it, they have a huge support system. They're having trainers, they're having chefs. So maybe when they do go off of it, I don't know if anyone I know who's off of it, Sharon Osbourne, they're able to possibly keep that weight off, but 9 times out of 10, the studies are showing is that the weight will come back on. And that's, think about the money. Just think about the amount of medication that you're going to have to put in your body for the rest of your life.
And it's scary to me. It's scary because it's so skewed. Like now, and I'm not that. I don't know those celebrities that you're mentioning. Like, no, I'm like, no wonder it's so famous if those people are talking about it or on it. But I think like the dangers of you using something like that. Let's just say, for example, and I have zero judgment. Those people that need it for diabetes, those people that want to try it. I don't have that judgment. I just think it's scary a place to be in, because if you've seen that short-term results from a pill, then you're never going to want to put in the effort to join something that's sustainable. You're always going to have that. And that really messes with your mind, maybe for the rest of your life.
Well, I think about it especially for females, how many fad diets have we been on? And I get that all the time, because I'll have a client that says, but when I did this diet, I lost 10 pounds in 10 days. I'm like, okay, great. What happened? It came back and it brought more friends to the party, is what happened. And it's like, it wasn't sustainable. And so we're always trying to get that high almost. We're always trying to get where we succeeded, but we really didn't succeed because it set us up for failure. Every time we did a fad diet, it set us up for failure. And yeah, that really messes with our minds, because we think, oh, we suck. It must be my fault. I have no willpower. And then now you have this medication that helps you to drop the pounds. And we can talk about how I don't think pounds are where we need to be focusing on. It's not healthy. We're slowing our metabolism down. And because in the back of your mind, if you stop this medication, you will gain the weight back. Psychological addiction. It's absolutely a psychological addiction. So I don't know how to, I'm trying to think of the word, how to rationalize taking the medication, how you feel, the psychological load that you are carrying every day. And I get it, because when we start losing weight, we're like, everything is great, everything's awesome. And then we realize that no, that really didn't open the doors for a new job, or it didn't help us with our relationships with our friends or our family or our husband. And we have to work on the happiness factor now, before you get on a nutrition program, before you decide to take medication. Happiness is an inside job, and no diet, no pill, no injection is going to help with that, because we all think we have this happy weight. I mean, everybody on this phone call or everybody on this Facebook Live right now, think about it. Like, what was your happy weight? I can tell you my happy weights in junior high, high school, college, and what I thought my adult life would be the best happy weight. It's not. It has nothing to do with weight. It's everything with body composition. And that's the problem with Ozempic, is that it changes our body composition, not for the better, but for the worse.
We got Karina's in here, Suzanne, a bunch of, I know Sharon's in here. Amanda, I see you guys. Thank you for your good mornings. This is good. I'm not sure if you have knowledge around this. Lena says the negative effects outweigh the positives. In my opinion, for example, causing cancer. Do we have any research on that? Yeah.
There is some research that is a possibility of increasing pancreatic cancer. So there is a possibility with that. They're not sure yet. But here's the thing is okay, so the GLP-1s are not new. The injection, the weekly injection, is newer. So we don't have a lot of information on what these high doses will do. And they'll go through a study. And when they do a study, it's a small population and small genetic population. So when you think about it, when this gets approved, now we're out into the entire world. We're out to all ages. We're out to men and women. We're out to all ethnicities. And we're all out to different DNA profiles. So it's not until it's been in the masses for about 5 to 10 years that we're going to start seeing what happens. How does it affect the body besides the weight loss? What else is it doing? And it's the darling of the media right now. So what we're seeing is, oh, it helps with congestive heart failure. Oh, it helps prevent this. Oh, it's helping prevent that. And then you'll get a story sprinkled in there here and there is that, oh, okay, it caused gastroparesis and it caused this total shutdown of your stomach. We're not seeing other things that are happening because it's going to be in the future. I'm going to call it old lady syndrome. You're going to start seeing increased bone fractures. You're going to start seeing people with maybe some mental issues because of going up and down and not being able to get the medication and that psychological addiction. You're going to see, we already see Ozempic button face, and that's because you're losing the muscle. So you're going to see people who age, who don't look like their age, not in a good way. They're going to seem older. So we're going to start seeing those things in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Could you share a bit? I'm a history guy. It always interests me. Do you know, or could you share with us? So if we were to take this a number of years back before it was mainstream media,
Yeah.
it was initially used, from what I understand, it was initially used for diabetics. Is that right?
So it's for type 2. It doesn't work for type 1, type 2 diabetes. So it's a GLP-1, what's the glucagon-like peptide 1. It's a hormone that is found in the gut. It's great, kind of like, a great medical breakthrough, if you want to say, because you think about how we're just learning more and more about hormones, how we're learning more and more about gut microbiome. All these things are coming up. So what they found was with the GLP-1 is that it helped with decreasing insulin resistance, increasing insulin sensitivity. It helped with, at that time, it was the pill form, so it's a modest weight loss. So it really did help those who were in type 2 diabetes decrease their A1C. And A1C is a snapshot of 3 months of how your blood sugar's been doing. So if you prick your finger, that's your blood shot. That's your blood sugar right now. If you take an A1C, that's how your blood sugar is doing in a 3-month zone. So what they were seeing is that it was really helping. Great. Awesome. Because that's what we want with type 2 diabetics, is that we want that insulin sensitivity to come back. We want to decrease that insulin resistance. And when they do lose some weight, we're losing some inflammation. Great. Fast forward, they start working on injections. So what happens with the GLP-1, when we eat, especially protein, our body releases GLP-1 naturally. It's a natural hormone. It's in our body. It gets released. Great. Awesome. It helps us feel full. It does help with insulin sensitivity, but it has a what's called half-life, short half-life. It does not stay in the body very long. It does what it does. It does what it needs to do. And then it dissolves and goes bye-bye. That's what we want. That's chemical reactions. Our body's one big chemical reaction. That's exactly what we want. Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy is a GLP-1 on, let me say, steroids. It is meant to last for a week. So what we're now finding, and these are kind of like oopsies, Viagra was an oopsie. So this is the same thing, is that what they're finding is that, oh, hey, it helps make you not hungry. What's with that? And before everybody's going, oh, yeah, definitely. That's what I need because I'm hungry all the time. I'm going to tell you have a sugar problem if you're hungry all the time. But it shuts off the brain. It does that because there's also GLP receptors in the brain. And normally a GLP doesn't last long enough when our normal GLP doesn't last long enough because it does what it needs to do and goes away. But this is so high potent, it now crosses the blood-brain barrier. And the theory is, what we're thinking, why is nausea, why it's maybe doing some things with addiction, is that it is binding to the receptor, the GLP-1 in the brain. Kind of cool. But not being hungry, not eating enough, constantly being nauseated are not good things. And so there, like I said, there's always side effects for certain medications.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, in my opinion, when you're going to do something, you should be prepared to do it for the rest of your life. And I don't know if that's a bold statement, but I think if you're going to join a program, let's say, the workouts should be sustainable. Like, they shouldn't be so intense that it's breaking everything down in your body and it takes you weeks to build yourself back up. You're looking at...
I love that. I mean, that's, and I wish all my clients would go in with that. But a lot of my clients, and I'm sure you see it too, they went now. It's like, give it to me now. Let me get in the stress now. And then I'll worry about the after effects later. And yeah, I love what you just said, because what your day one, if you're getting healthy, should be now. And the last day is when you take your last breath on this earth, and focusing on what's sustainable. Can you have a cookie? Can you be healthy 90% of the time, getting your workouts in and doing it for the rest of your life, not just for that short period of time that you're trying to lose the weight?
Yeah, and that it's the same thing as nutrition. I think like if you're on such a stringent program, like what's going to happen after? But I feel like we don't look to the future. We're like, oh, Oprah's doing it, I should probably do it too. So if you're going to look at this or anything, is that something that you're going to commit to for the rest of your life, knowing that at least in this particular instance, there's probably going to be some damage that's happening on your way?
Well, and we never think about the negative. We're only thinking about it, it won't happen to me. I'll take this, and the negative side effects happen to other people, but it won't happen to me. And that's something that you have to realize is that, yeah, it's a possibility. It is a huge possibility that could happen to you. But the other thing that's going to happen is that when you're not eating, your body needs amino acids. It's going to get it from your muscle. If you're not fueling your body, it's going to get it from somewhere. It's going to get it from your muscle. If you're not getting its vitamins and minerals, it's going to take it from your bones. And if you are a female, actually, okay, we need muscle. My age group, Gen X, used to think that that was a bad thing. Now we know that, no, that's going to keep us out of our nursing homes, because that's what I see in my nursing home patients is muscle wasting. We don't want that. And then what we also see is osteoporosis. Well, if you're not getting those vitamins and minerals, if you're not fueling your body, it's going to take it from the bones. So now you're looking at osteoporosis. A lot of that is irreversible. And it's adding another pharmaceutical because of what outcome you just produced. So muscle wasting, they are now looking at making a medication to help prevent muscle wasting. Okay. That's a great thing for somebody like with MS or something like that. I mean, a great breakthrough, but they're doing it because of Ozempic, because Ozempic causing muscle wasting. There's the bisphosphonates, so like Fosamax, to be on for osteoporosis, because you also get constipated. I have clients who come to me who had to be on IBS medication or laxatives so that they can go. So it's now you're looking at what's called polypharmacy. One medication just cascaded to having 5 more medications. You're a walking pharmacy.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough one for me. It's like, it's hard for me to believe, like, I mean, I think they have, I don't know, I think they have a good intention, but for me, it's like, the more medication you're on, or the more you take a medication and you almost have to take the next one for the side effects, but it's like just a giant money pit or a money grab for them just to continue to make more money. Once they get you on medication, it's like there's no way out.
Yeah, and it really is. It is no way out. But I'll get from people going, "Oh, but you know what? It's too expensive to hire you." And I'm like, "But you're paying how much for your copay?" It's like, how much are you paying when you can learn how to eat and enjoy life and be able to get more muscle. And, I always tell people, look at your future self. What's your person in 20, 30 years going to be like? Are they going to be in a wheelchair? Are they having broken a hip? Or are they going to look back at you going, you know what? You were doing everything right to keep me vibrant and being able to do all the things in your 80s and 90s. Which I think we forget about that. Like, we're looking for the shiny object. We're looking for that hope. We're looking for that thing that's going to make us happy or get us to a certain size that we think everything's going to be amazing. And it does for a little bit. It does. But there's always that kind of negative thing that's attached to it. And yeah, like I said, nutrition, fitness is more difficult. It is the more difficult. You may not get the certain body type that you want, that waif look, or we used to call it heroin chic back in the day. And that's not a healthy body type. And we need to change what a healthy body type is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And when it comes to the body weight or composition in particular, you talked about building muscle mass. A lot of our audience here is women over 40 in particular. And to me, I often hear that from people that say, okay, my goal weight may be to drop 50 pounds. Like, okay, we can start working on that. One of the first questions is I had so-and-so lost a bunch of weight and they're all flabby, right? But the caveat to that is in most cases, that is either I'm not sure what it's called, the digestive ring, or it's strictly nutrition through fasting or whatever. But it's really that what you talked about is the exercise and the muscle building component, which can actually help tighten those muscles and help with that loose skin look that I feel is much more rare than most people could imagine.
Yeah, it's the elasticity of the skin. Yes, as we age, that's where I'm over 50, ladies. So it's like, I see it, I'm like, oh, what's this creepy stuff? Hydration. It's how you eat. Are you getting enough protein? Are you building muscle? All those things are going to help. And, some people say, oh, I don't want to age. Let's talk about age backwards. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about aging backwards, because we do have a birthday every year. We grow older. We do not have to, quote unquote, age, get frail, decrease our vibrancy. We can actually get better. The problem is that, especially females, and we slow down a lot of times. And you may not think so, like, no, I'm running around all the time. Okay, well, there's your stress factor right there. So we're holding on to cortisol, we're increasing our body fat with that. But what I'm talking about is, when you're younger, you may have been playing sports. You may have been up and around a lot of times. When you had kids, you were playing with your kids. You were going outside with them. Then you become mom's taxi, and maybe you have a sedentary job. So all those things start compounding, and then you dieted forever. So you were doing these fad diets, and every time you did a fad diet, you lost muscle mass. So it starts to creep up, and it actually kind of starts getting to us during perimenopause. And it catches up. And we have to understand that we didn't get here overnight, and we caused a lot of this, but we can also start healing our bodies from the inside out. Takes time. And we can start feeling better, and to stop worrying about the scale. Scale means absolutely nothing except for the gravity that's pulling you here. You can be, and I had a client who in the first 6 weeks didn't lose a pound. And everybody's like going, oh, you're a shitty coach. Sorry. And they're like, I can't believe it. Guess what? She lost 36 freaking inches. 36 inches. So what does that mean? It means that she preserved her muscle and lost body fat. That's huge. And yes, she did end up losing weight, but she never got to her target weight, but she got to her target size. And that's what we have to think about. Skinny isn't healthy. And the shape that you want comes from muscle building. You will not be Arnold. Arnold's not Arnold without some help. You won't be Arnold. But the shape that we want is with muscle. And that's what's going to help us not break a hip. That's what's going to help us prevent osteoporosis. That's what's going to help us, be able to carry your grandkids, your kids, your dogs, your groceries, your luggage. All of that is what keeps us functional.
Yeah, I love that point, because we go through the same thing, and we see people, we do progress pictures, and we do measurements. Yeah. And we see people, like, you can see clear differences in their progress pictures, tighter, fitter, firmer, and still I get the way the scale's not going down fast enough. Yeah. And I'm like, can't you see the pictures? Just look.
I have my clients, take pictures every week, and I have them sent. I don't see anything. I'm like, send me it. Do I do a side by side? I'm like, okay, look at the difference and the space between how your arms are falling between, how you're standing. Look at how your hands are on your hips. Look how much closer your fingertips are together. Look, cheekbones. I don't see this. And it's not because, as females, I'm right there with you guys. There is one part of my body that's all I focus on. Doesn't matter what. I could be, I could have some rocking biceps and things. Oh, no. It is always going to be my abs and my booty. And if I feel like I'm fluffy that day, the world stops, right? That's what we do. We get this laser focus on this one body part that we forget that there's so much more going on. Pictures help us take a step back and look at going, oh, okay, I'm doing okay. And that is what you have to do with nutrition and fitness. And I get that all the time. It's like, I just want to do this part. I just want to work out all the time. I just want to work out 3 hours. I don't want to care about what I eat. No, no. Or I'm just going to eat, clean, healthy food, and I don't understand why it's not working. And it's really getting back to the basics and getting your macronutrients, your proteins, fats, and your carbohydrates, pairing that with your workouts that are not hours, and then also moving your body, and magic happens. You will not get your 16-year-old body back. That's okay. You don't want that 16-year-old. Think about your 16-year-old self. No, been there, done that, gone. Make it your best that you are now, and start training for your future self.
You know what? This just hit me when you said that about your 16-year-old self, and then with the weight. But you're probably still fixated on something you hate about yourself. Yep. And if you're to go back, you probably hated something about your 16-year-old body, but because it was 100 pounds, you're like, I want to go back to that body.
That's so funny because, I have clients going, man, you'll pull a picture back when, man, I thought I was fat then. I wish I could get back to that. And we're never happy. And that's why I say you have to find that happiness. You have to find that inner light, that inner beauty, and realize that it's not tied to your weight. It's not. You're an amazing person now, where you are now, where you are in the future. Now what we have to focus on is health and strength. And when you have health and strength, you have everything.
I love this here. We have a bunch of comments. My apologies. I love this conversation, and I really appreciate you guys coming in here, but I don't want to interrupt Amy. Dorothy, would you mind?
I talk a lot, so that's fine.
Can you flip that camera around? But I do flip that. Yeah, please. Will it flip?
Well, this little USB thing.
Don't take that out. You'll cut my case. Okay, just leave it. It's fine. Jordan's my wife. She almost disconnected our whole.
Ooh.
Okay, let me read this question here because I love this and I appreciate it, and I don't want people to feel like if you're on Ozempic, we're putting you down, or that you shouldn't try it. I don't think either of us, Amy or myself, have judgment for you. And I asked on this private group who was on Ozempic, and I had a bunch of people send me private messages because I want to learn more about it, which is why Amy's here. But Patty says, I take Ozempic for diabetes and it has been great for my A1C.
Yeah.
What can I do without more meds to build muscles? I'm not concerned about weight loss. I just want to be healthy.
Yeah. So what I find with my type 2 diabetes clients is that they don't have as much of the not being able to eat as someone who doesn't have type 2 diabetes, which is a really interesting kind of thing. So the one thing is make sure that you are getting a protein every single meal. You need to be getting at least 90 grams of protein a day. All right, let me repeat that. You need to be getting 90 grams at least a day. The other thing is that you need to start lifting weights. And whether you start with the 3-pound weights, that's great. But I want you to really start focusing on building that muscle, meaning that 3 pounds is your starting point. I want to see you in about 6 months to a year with 20 to 25 pound dumbbells, because that's where the key is building that muscle. The more muscle that you have, and I want also, if you're type 2, you're doing your blood sugar. The more muscle you have, the more insulin receptors you have. The more muscle you have, the lower your A1C is going to be. Also, it will start lowering your blood sugar because you will be pulling in that blood glucose. Insulin will start working a little bit better. You'll have less insulin resistance, more insulin sensitivity. So it's a definite thing that you want to be working with whoever you're working with, and also your physician, because we might have to start titrating and decreasing the amount of medication that you are on. So the last thing we want is going hypoglycemic.
Yeah, I feel like that's so important because we see women, and my career started in a gym as a trainer, and I would see women, and I guess I still hear it today, but they just want to do cardio. It's like, I got to do cardio to burn body fat, just more cardio. And then they may join our program. This has happened a handful of times. And there's like, where's all the cardio? I got to do some hours of cardio. And I'm like, stop the madness. Stop.
It's number one. But okay, Cosmo, Glamour, all the magazines that we grew up with was cardio. Then, think of my age, the Stairmaster came out. So everybody was doing the Stairmaster, and then the elliptical came out, and they all showed you how many calories you were burning.
Right.
By the way, ladies, stop counting calories. So, but anyway, it was telling you the calories. You're like, oh my gosh, I got to be on this for 3 hours because I ate this many calories and I got to burn off. It doesn't work that way. Calories in versus calories out is such BS. That actually, if you were under eating, okay, let me tell you what it's going to do. It's going to cause you to gain weight. You're like, wait, what? I'm not eating and I'm working out. What the heck?
Yes.
No. Because remember I told you your body's one big chemical reaction and it goes, hold on, girl, you're not feeding me. Guess what? Okay, ghrelin. All right. We're going to start working with ghrelin and leptin, your hormones, and we're going to put a stop to everything, which means we're going to slow down your metabolism. We're going to make you feel like you're hungry all the time, which is going to make you, we all know, crazy bitchy, right? When you're starving. And we're going to start holding on to body fat because you're trying to kill us. And your body's like, going, no, we're going to survive. Hold on to the body fat. It's not going anywhere. And so you do more cardio and you decrease your food even more. And the madness is, why is this not working? And that's what I tell my clients. I had to tell myself too, when this was all happening to me, because I've been there, ladies, I've been there. That was doing the same thing. I had to keep telling myself, if what was working, I wouldn't be here. If it was working, I wouldn't be here. And I had to change that thought process to be like, I have to eat. I have to fuel my body. I have to change the way I'm working out, which is really hard for a fitness instructor who's teaching 15 classes a week. It really is. And understand that it's now about building muscle and fueling my body properly. And all of a sudden, inches start going away. It was mind blowing. But you have to think about, was it working? Okay, it may have worked back in our 20s because that was the first time that you did it. And guess what you were losing? You're losing muscle. Remember, your body needs fuel. So you weren't losing fat. I don't care what anybody says. You weren't. You're losing muscle. I'll never forget going through divorce. I've been married 3 times. I'll tell you that. Divorce one. It's like I got skinny, like skinny. Great. I'm like, divorce weight is great. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get my body fat checked. And my body fat was horrible. And I'm like, but I'm skinny, finally. This is a girl with a booty and legs, and I'm finally skinny. And I could not comprehend, because this is in the early 90s when calories in versus calories out, and I couldn't comprehend why my body fat was higher. Now I know. Now I totally know. So
Yeah, and that's across the board, right? And I appreciate your perspective of, I didn't really think about that, like the elliptical or the like everything tracking the calories in, like that's such nonsense. But the thing is that when we start to put someone on our meal plans right away, there's a very small percentage that's like, oh, it's not enough food, like the overeaters that we find. But in most cases, it's like, this is way too much food. Are you trying to make me gain weight?
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Has starving yourself worked in the past? Obviously not, because you're here.
And I say sometimes we're overfed, underfueled, meaning that we have so much diet food, and that diet food we're trying, we don't realize that diet food is actually not good for us. It's, the lean cuisine is the healthy choice, because we just haven't been told anything. We haven't been told the truth. Let's just face it. We haven't been told the truth. We're told what people want us to spend money on. And when you start eating real food, when you start cutting out some of the ultra processed food, it's a lot of food. Like I have clients like, I'm trying to get my carbs. I'm going to eat more spinach. I'm like, don't even measure the spinach, because you're never going to get to all your carbs by trying to get spinach. So, but when you start getting your carbs, yes, carbohydrates, you need it because of our thyroid. Our thyroid needs carbs. You need the fruits, the vegetables, the grains. You need those carbs, and you need protein, and you do need fat. So back in the low fat craze, when we had no low fat, everything was replaced by sugar. That's why we have a type 2 diabetes problem now, is really because of what our food industry has done to us. And now we have to get back to the basics of real food, moving our body, lifting weights so that we can be where we want to go, what we really, really want.
So, okay, let's bring this back around to Ozempic before we wrap things up. I got a few more questions if we have time. But let's say someone is on Ozempic. Let's just say, and I'd imagine there's some people here. You're more than welcome to share if you like. But let's say if they're on, I guess we've kind of talked about that, but let's go over it real quick. Instead of just taking the pill and relying that, or it's a pill and an injection.
Ozempic is an injection. It's a weekly injection.
Oh, it's always injection. Okay.
There are other GLP ones out there. The first ones were pills. Now there are going to be some that are going to be weekly. Also, and is also coming out with pills too. And then for the big one in the news right now is called Zepbound. That's another one that's in. So we have Zepbound, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Ozempic.
So those pills?
Those are all injections.
Those are all injections. So, okay. So how do we know? Like, what do you know? Like, what's the difference between all these? Like, how do you know, like, I want that one, or your doctor basically tells you?
Honestly, it's whichever one's available at this moment in time. There's such a demand that they're back ordered. And I have had clients where they've been on one and the one causes them to get very ill and they'll go on a different one and the other one's okay. And what you have to look as and listen to your bodies, because I'll have people who try to fight it. It's like, I'm going to be on this no matter what. Even though if it's making me sick, I'm still going to be on it. Or I've had others who it's caused, they've had to go to the hospital because they've gotten so sick from it. The things that you have to think about when you're on Ozempic is you have to pair it. And you'll even see this on the commercials. You have to pair it with nutrition and fitness. You have to make sure that you are getting your nutrition. You have to make sure that you are getting that protein, because at the end of the day, it's all about preserving that muscle. And that is the most important thing. So if you're on for type 2 diabetes, it should help with your A1C. It should decrease it a couple points, which is great. And that's definitely awesome because we want to decrease the inflammation, but we also want to make sure that you're doing it the right way. And that is with nutrition and fitness.
Yeah. And I think that you said preserve, like it's so interesting to me that how much muscle mass, like just for example, I'm just thinking out loud here, like how much, if you see people that have lost 30, 50 pounds on Ozempic or whatever it is, you see, hey, I started this journey, and you see a picture of someone and they look like they lost a bunch of weight in a short amount of time. And I have to wonder what else is lost. Like you're obviously losing muscle along with body fat. And then what else comes along with that is just the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah. I mean, what else? You're looking at bone density. So you're looking at what vitamins and minerals that were taken out of your bones. So you have to be very diligent in your nutrition when you're on these medications.
One of the things I would like to ask of you guys is that some of you know that I don't run ads on this show and don't plan on in the immediate future. So the only ask I have for you is that you help us spread the word so we can help more women burn body fat, increase energy, and balance their hormones. And the only way that we can do that is if you can rate and review this podcast. So the single thing that I could have you do or could ask of you is to leave a review. It'll take 5 minutes or one swipe of the thumb. It would mean the absolute world to me. And more importantly, you could change the world for someone else. As many of you know, there's plenty of women that struggle in this age group for balancing hormones, increasing energy, and burning body fat. So if you could help spread the word, that would make a big difference in our life and probably someone else's as well. Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading questions while you're talking. So Joanne says, well, don't worry, we're going to wrap things up. There's a handful of people bouncing off to work. I know it's getting to that time. Her RD, registered dietitian, doesn't want me on a meal plan. I'm actually meeting her today at a pizza place. I'm sorry. I'm okay with that. She's into intuitive eating, all foods, fit philosophy. We have sometimes we go on shopping trips to Sprouts or TJ's. That's awesome.
I love intuitive eating, but I always tell my clients, you have to know where you're starting first. And that is why macro tracking is so important, because how do you know you're doing intuitive eating right how do you know you're getting what you need and the amount that you're getting if you don't track first? So a lot of my clients will start with tracking first. They'll go to intuitive eating. And then I always tell them, like, for 1 week out of every 6, go back to tracking, because let me tell you, this is the size of a scoop of peanut butter. Not in my brain. This is the size of a scoop of peanut butter, right? So I have to go back to tracking, because if I do intuitive eating, this girl is going to eat a whole thing of peanut butter. Right. Realize that, and I will veer away from getting more protein. And so for me to track, I have to track to make sure I eat enough. If I do intuitive eating, I don't eat enough because I get busy. I'm just like all you guys. I'm busy. I don't think about it. It's like, and before I know it, it's 6 p.m.
Yeah, I just wrote about this, and it's like when I was recording food journals, I was doing personal training. They'd bring their food journals. We'd talk about it. And almost every single person was like, came in, I eat pretty well. And almost everyone was like, I didn't know I drank this much coffee. I didn't know I ate out this much. I didn't know I didn't drink any water. And I say, if you're not tracking, like if you're not writing it down, how do you know? Like, how do you just you're just guessing. And that's not any way for success.
Yeah, exactly.
Lena said, before I started my fitness and nutrition diploma, I would always think I ate too much. Now when I start gaining a bit, even though I lift heavy at the gym, I automatically say I'm not eating enough protein and fuel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy on this when I start, if I start getting a little fluffy, I'm like, oh, it's because I haven't been eating. It's like, oops. And it's a different mindset. It's a totally different, it's a huge shift. Huge shift.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lena actually followed up and she said it's taken me 20 years to change my train of thought.
I'm right there with you.
Lindsay says, my sister lost over 150 pounds on Ozempic, paired with gastric bypass. She never had diabetes before her weight loss, but is now being tested for diabetes and has to test her blood sugars.
Yeah. So, and just because someone's had gastric bypass, and it's the same thing. It's like, gastric bypass in the day was to decrease inflammation, to decrease your chances of heart disease or everything else. It's not the answer for everything. So gastric bypass, and I have several gastric bypass clients too, is like, because they started gaining weight again. And they're like, wait a minute. It's like, because you're not eating the right stuff. You're eating all those processed foods. So you can gastric bypass, lose all this weight, but it doesn't mean that you're going to prevent diabetes. Diabetes is a blood sugar disorder. It is an insulin resistance disorder. So if you are fueling your body with things that is causing your blood sugar to constantly be high and your insulin's constantly being released, it turns those receptors off. It's kind of like I would say, the receptors go, talk to the hand, I'm not listening to you, get away from me. And that keeps your blood sugar high. Well, when you start increasing your movement, walking, when you start building muscle, you're increasing your insulin receptors, you are decreasing that insulin resistance. So it's like, I understand, taking the Ozempic and everything, but pair it with nutrition and fitness and things are going to work so much better.
I gotta wrap things up. I could sit here for another hour, easy. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate it.
Part 2 sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to. Let us know in the comments if you guys have any questions for Amy before we wrap up, or just let us know in the comments if you've been enjoying this. This is one of our biggest audiences, so
awesome.
It's definitely a hot topic that a lot of people want to learn about. So we appreciate you shining some light on it.
Absolutely.
Tell us about your website, product, services, in case anyone wants to learn more about you.
The best places to find out about me is my website, amykwilson.com, is AMYKWILSON.com. I have a weekly blog that comes out. It's always something I usually do with nutrition or health, fitness, medication, supplements, that kind of thing. You can always reach out to me and ask me questions on there, or you can get me if you're an Instagrammer. Go to the Nutrition Coach Pharmacist, the Nutrition Coach Pharmacist. You can message me there. I will be honest, I do not use ManyChat. If you don't know what ManyChat is, that's an AI that answers for you. It's me. So, if I don't answer right away, it's because it's me. It's not an AI bot that's doing it for me. So if you want to find me on Instagram at the Nutrition Coach Pharmacist and on my website, amykwilson.com. I do have a nutrition group that will start in about a week at the end of April. If somebody's interested in that, just reach out to me and I can give you more information.
Awesome. We have a bunch of thank yous. Really enjoyed this. Would love to hear more. Love the topic. So thanks gives me more to think about. So lots of comments of gratitude coming in. So appreciate you, Amy.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Amy, I don't know how to cut this without cutting both of us. So let me say thanks again. I really appreciate you coming on.
I'll leave. We'll talk later and then you can do your thing. How's that good?
Okay. Sure.
Right.
Sounds good.
Bye,
okay.
guys. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Amy. Hey, it's just me. But our other ones, the other two people we had on, when I cut the feed, I lose you guys and I lose the guest. So I don't get a chance to say thank you to the guest. And I don't get a chance to say thanks to you guys. I hope you enjoyed that topic. I think it's super powerful. And again, there's absolutely no judgment. You guys, I feel like everyone needs to make the best decisions for themselves. And sometimes, like, I really dislike those types of companies that prey on us in general, like the consumer that promises these pills, potions, powders, and promises the world. Because we're in such a desperate situation, we'll try anything to improve our situation. And I don't know, I feel like this could be along those lines, but I'm not here to judge if you guys feel that's what you need to do or that's the route you take. But there's good people out there. Like, there's people that really want to make a change and a sustainable change. Amy's obviously fantastic. She came on my radio show, Exploring Mind and Body. And that's why I said I want to have her in this group. We had a different topic of more lifestyle living, but she said she knows lots about Ozempic. And I said, we got to talk about it and shine some light on it because I don't know a ton about it either. So I want to learn and understand about it. Amy says, thanks for the info. We got a bunch of people that said we'll send the replay. We'll send it after here. Jennifer says great information. Replay, please, Mark. Yeah. Okay. If you guys didn't get it, I only have the ebook. If you guys didn't get a copy, this is 25 pages, 90 days to burning body fat, increasing energy, and balancing hormones. No gym, no diets. And it's a free ebook download. We don't have these in physical copy. It's only 25 pages. It's an easy read. And I feel like it would shine some light on a lot of things for a lot of people. So if you want that and you don't have it yet, that should have been sent out. A lot of people have it, I think. Well, I know a lot of people have it. So if you want that, just comment below or send a direct message that you would like to have it. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend or a wonderful day whenever you are watching. We're going to bring more guests like this on. I feel like I really like the topic. Monthly, I'm trying to do one Q&A. Guess who's coming down? One Q&A, one guest interview, and the other two will be specific topics like we have done in the past. So I'm going to wrap things up and enjoy some family breakfast number 2. So you bet, Kim. And Bev, I can send you that, Bev. We actually posted that in our private map group. So you can, but we can send it to you. At any rate, I'm out here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining us. I got to tell you this real quick. I'm in some other groups, one in particular, and a lot of people saying they don't really like Facebook groups. They don't like, no one interacts, or I don't have a big audience, or I stopped doing lives because no one showed up. And I just want to mention this because I feel like I really enjoy the lives. I do. Because of the interaction and because I get to hear from you guys. And it really means a lot for you guys to be here, to be in here asking questions. And I feel like we don't have thousands and thousands of people that show up to a live or that's really in our close knit audience. But to me, that doesn't mean anything. Like, to me, I feel like I just feel like such a strong support from you guys. It doesn't matter the number, like the scale we talk about. It doesn't matter the number. It just matters that you guys are here, that I know that people are going to show up for when we have a guest interview. Like, a few years ago, if I had a guest interview and no one showed up, it'd be a little bit embarrassing, right? I think we'd have to be like, will you please? I think we had to be like, would you show up for this guest? Because I would like some questions. But anyway, I'm just trying to express my gratitude for you guys being here. So have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you online at some point.